Hi everybody, welcome to Airbrush Artistry. This is Douglas Hartman, and this is a project I need to get on the ball with and get hurried up and get done because it's for my grandson Liam and for Christmas. And so this is Venum. I've already loosely sketched out the image on the t-shirt. Then what I do after that when I'm working on the t-shirt, after I get the image drawn on there, is I go in with some Create Text transparent base. And what I will do is I use a Pache Talon with the fan nozzle on it and the 0.6 millimeter needle and nozzle setup. And this is kind of like the airbrush I use when I'm putting on transparent base and when I'm putting on a top coat on my t-shirts. It's kind of my all-around airbrush I use for but I don't paint t-shirts with it anymore. I like the fan pattern on it. It works really good. And then what I'll do is I've already heat pressed this. And so what that does with the transparent base and the heat press is it flattens out all the nap on the t-shirt. So it's nice and smooth and you're good to go. And it keeps you from, puts a layer over your pencil drawing. And so it won't rub off or anything like that. But anyway, the airbrushes I'm going to be using today for this piece, the main body of it is I'm going to be using my Iwata HPC Plus. It has the 0.3 millimeter needle and nozzle setup. And I'm going to be putting straight black in this for right now. And then kind of at the same time, I've got not the newer one, but the older Hardin Steinbeck Evolution. It has the 0.4 millimeter needle and nozzle setup. I'm going to put smoke black in that, and I'm just going to dust in some color loosely in the background while I'm working in the shapes and stuff on this guy here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and forgive me for the go like that so I can you guys have a better view of kind of like what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be using these paper shields. You just take some heavier paper and tear them in whatever shapes you need. And so I'll be laying these on here like this and working my way around his head and putting in black in this area. Then I'll go back and fill in with a little bit of the smoke black real lightly. And then we'll go from there. So let me go ahead. I've already got my paints shook up. Again, I use these little bottles right here. And I'll put a little, it's like a little chrome plated BB in there to help shake them up. And I'm going to be running, I think I got the compressor set at like 20 PSI. When you use these bottles, don't forget to screw the cap back down, in case I've had that happen before where I've forgotten to do that and I go to shake it. And you got, you got paint flying everywhere, which is not a good thing, It creates some havoc. So let me get my the H&S set up here with some smoke black. And this stuff is already man, I wish I had, there it is. I'm going to say I wish I had an air cap for this thing right here. Got it right there. got that, got all set up, got my sponge, got my Q-tips. All right, man, and we're ready to rock and roll here. So first I'm gonna do is use my test spray out here. And all paints I have in those bottles, that stuff is already reduced 50% too. So again, I'm just going to be starting off kind of light. Just get the basic outline of his head here kind of in. Gotta get used to airbrushing with the phone right in the center of the stuff here. But anyway, it just kind of helps create that edge. You see that? It kind of just helps create a sharper edge there. So that's why I like doing that. And I know I'm going to be hitting a thing here, so it's going to get all funky on us. But like I said, I'm just using this to define just the top shape of his head. This big old slimy noggin that he's got there. Work my way down there and see if I've got me a piece I can use at the top of his neck there. How it kind of goes in. Now I need to do the other way around. Duh, Doug. Kind of like this here. I'll put that on there like that. There you go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? Alright, so then what I'll do is I'm going to, real quick like, before I do that, if I'm using two brushes at the same time, and I'm switching back and forth, one thing I do, so those of you who've watched my videos before already know this, but for my cleaner, I'll use ammonia-free Windex and dilute it 50-50 with water. And so to clean off any tip dry, you know, I get these pointy little Q-tips, and I got this little thing here of the cleaner on my easel, and I'll just, you see that line of paint on the Q-tip? And I'll go like that. And I always will go back in, use a little cosmetic sponge or something like that, and so then I'll set that brush down, and I'll go get the H&S, and I'm just gonna go in lightly and just I'm just looking to get some color on the t-shirt, basically. Nothing too fancy schmancy. Okay, just to kind of get rid of the white of it. All right. Just to make it look like there's like some A little bit of atmosphere in the background, you know. That's all. Nothing fancy. Nothing, you know, crazy or anything like that. Just, and that's all I'm doing. I'm just lightly spraying this stuff in here. You know, I may, you know, later on go back in and kind of, you know, try to define that a little bit more, you know. But for right now, that's all she wrote, man. I'll come down here. I'm going to go work my way down a little bit here and kind of do the same thing. Like I said, I'm just trying to get a little bit of color in there going on there. And I got that done. So, again, I'm going to clear off any tip dry on that. All right, so now moving forward from there, and this isn't, you know, this isn't full strength, and so let me see where I am at as far as I could probably. Again, I apologize for the movement in the microphone here, but there we go. Kind of tighten that down a little bit. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be working in here and just slowly, you know, working in some shapes. So, you know, this is eye, so obviously down here is going to be a little bit darker. Same thing here with this little jaw thing here, and I want to just loosely get in some of the shapes, work my shapes in there. Nothing too, you know, fancy pants or anything like that. And so, you know, his eyes, we're trying to, I'll go in a little bit later here and fill in his eye there. And there's another part of his eye right there. But what we're going to be doing is, you know, creating form and shape with value changes. And right now I'm just going to be real loose about it. All right. And this right here, you're going to have I'm not too concerned with this being a really sharp line. It's going to be kind of, his gum and stuff is going to be in here. So it's going to be where that meets up to his upper lip, I guess, for lack of a better term. It's going to be a little fuzzy in there anyway. So, anywho, that's my story. I'm sticking to it, man. I will come up here. I also will go in with, again, I'm just doing this with real light black. I have some opaque black that I will be working back in here with. But we're just kind of working in some shapes and stuff in here. Nothing real specific, And yep, sorry about that. There's an air compressor running through the pipe. Let's go ahead and turn that compressor off because my tank, it's like a 6 or 7 gallon tank on that thing, so I need to be running it right now. Work in here a little bit. So if I want a little bit more detail in here, I'm going to move in a little bit closer. Let's create a little bit more of a sharper line there. You can see I've been fairly, I've been keeping the airbrush back a little bit to keep that softness of the edges. Because I'm not going in and doing any kind of hard detail right now. Again, it's just to kind of establish the shapes and the forms. All right. And so he's got there's going to be a lot of highlights up in here. Let me go ahead, and I will go ahead. Kind of help get his eye shaped in there. He has a really, just gonna really lightly, hardly any paint. I made that down here just a little bit darker because it's gonna, his eye is gonna have that roundness, so it's gonna have a little bit of a, a shadow going on in there. All kinds of freaky weird stuff this guy has got. So his other eye. So I am gonna have to get in a little bit closer. Just to kind of get that shape in there. I may have to do at some point, maybe not right now, but it's just going to be these. We'll go ahead and darken this up a little bit here. let's see. And I will be using some texture stencils on this too. So now, let's see. I just kind of. And just keeping it a little fluid. I need to be, also I need to pay attention. Okay, so, the shape of this right here is on. So I've already determined it's lighter up here, darker down here. So that means my light source is going to be up more top. So I need to keep that in mind when I'm just filling this in a little bit, and to make sure I have some areas where there's going to be highlights and stuff. So I need to keep that in mind while I'm doing that. So now we're going to work our way back over here a little bit and come down, and I'll move my phone when I get down. It's about right here in this area here. And so his, this right here coming down into his lower jaw area. And let's see, I'll just go ahead and work in a area where I know is going to be, now I don't know if you can hear this or not, but when I'm spraying it, it's starting to have like a funny whistle to it. It's because that's when that starts happening. I don't know if my phone's gonna pick this up or not. Focus. I guess what I'm trying to see if you guys can see the tip dry on my needle. So you can tell. Well, for one, just by looking at it, it's all clumpy. But you can hear that it starts to whistle when you're spraying it. Again, and it's real simple to get rid of that tip dry. Use some cleaner, and I just roll it like that, man. Bada boom, bada bing. And again, whenever I do that, take my little cosmetic sponge here, bump, backflush it a little bit, zap it over there. To my right, I've got another little easel with some paper on it that I do, like the spray outs and stuff like that. All right, so again, back in here where I left off, I'm moving in a little bit closer because I just want to have this a little bit more defined space right here. So, trying to remember the shape of this guy's noggin, and if the light source is coming down this way here, it'll be a little bit lighter, and then we're going to get into some darker spaces back here in the back of his neck and stuff. So when I'm just filling this in, so this right here may be a little bit darker in here. So I can just go ahead and start to establish that value change in there. And I don't know if you noticed too, when I was doing that, I wasn't doing it straight on. I was more angled because I want to try to keep that off of the background. Because I definitely want there to be a large value change between the top of his head and the background there. So that's why I'm kind of coming in at an angle right here. It helps doing that. Bada, 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 bing, bada, 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 bing. And he also has all these weird little funky, you know, spaghetti things going in between his mouth right there. And it'll kind of come up and around. We'll have a little bit there. So naturally, underneath here is going to be darker. Nice long sweeping motion. And again, all I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to get some color on the shirt. And I'm not focused on any detail. Just real loose and soft. And just to slowly build up the forms with value changes and stuff. So again, down, let's see, where am I at? Down in this area here. So I know all this underneath his lower jaw here is also going to be darker, so I can go ahead and fill that in. So the area above it is going to be dark, but not as dark as that in there. So again, I need to keep that in mind when doing this. And you also know when you got tip dry, when you're pulling back, you know, you're pressing down on the area, you're pulling back on the trigger, and you notice that you have to pull back on the trigger farther and farther for paint to come out. That's because the dried up paint on the needle is blocking the nozzle there. And so again, just real soft, fluid motions. Not concerned with, you know, I'm moving a little bit closer to, you know, kind of define some of these, you know, areas in here, lines and stuff. But so, and if you notice, I was trying to keep the same sweeping motions to create the, you know, the textures in his dome. And then we got his neck that comes in. So, you know, I'm going to change the angle to correspond with his neck coming in this way. So I'm not going to keep going this way like that. I'll come in at a different angle, like that. Help, you know, indicate his neck there. And so, yeah, so again, this is going to be, you know, not as dark as right in here. Okay, but I still want to just, again, I just want to get some loose value changes and stuff going on here. And I'm just gonna, yeah, as you know, as they say, you know, easy peasy lemon squeezy, something like that. Again, let me change my direction here. And so what I'll do is when I get a good, just this basic base of color down, what I will do is I will go ahead and go back to my heat press and heat set that in there good. You know, because when the shirt is getting damp from the water and the paint and stuff, it's a water-based paint. It's kind of reactivate the nap on the shirt and kind of fluff it up a little bit. And so I'm going to go ahead and get that pressed in a little bit before I go into the next step, so to say, for lack of a better term. And so yeah, so we got that going on there. So now let me put my brush down, and what I need to do now is, so we're going to have another earthquake moment here. As I move this down so you guys can see what I'm doing down here. And then you got his big old gnarly tongue that comes out, and all these little teeth he's got as well. And he's got all this little crissy-cross. I really do need to. Do I need to do that? Oh, I should have done that already. Daggone it. You know what we're going to do is, he's got like all this like he's got a mouthful of spaghetti all up in here. And so with this here, I'm going to make sure I eliminate any tip dry. He's got this little crisscrossy membrane stuff, and so when I do that, I am going to get up and work closer on the canvas or the shirt here. Well, that looks like shit, doesn't it? It'll probably help me is if I used a lot easier. Trying to find the right stencil to use with this here. Yeah, that looks pretty crummy. I'll work on that later, but all right. Boy, that does look bad. Anyway, you got another one kind of comes up here. I'm just trying to make these. Obviously, I'll come back in and work those crappy little lines there. And it'll be really easy to do once I work in do the color behind it. And I can be able to sharpen up the edges and stuff like that. So it looks like shit right now, but so does a house when you're first building it, right? So just need to get some different movement going on here. And I'm just gonna continue to work my way up through here. Again, it's just a bunch of little crisscrossy hoosemadoogers there. Alright, so now I can go ahead and come back down. And again, I'm going to go ahead and take care of any tip dry. Do a backflush. Give it a spray. And let's see. So when I come down here, I've got one for his jaw right here. And I need a sharper. Let's see what we got going on here. Gonna do that. That'll kind of work. That's a little bit too harsh there. And anyway, and just kind of come in. I'll round that out. Again, kind of keep my angling in that way there. And what I'll do now over here is I will come back in. Fuck, I thought my airbrush fell over. That wouldn't have been good. With a little bit more smoke black. My H&S. So I'm going to come back in here with my Evolution with the 0.4 millimeter needle, and I'll set up. And again, and this time, I'll be, pointing it the other direction there. I'm going to put my little cap on there. Get the caparooski going on. And again, it's just, oh man, there's a hair. That's one thing when you put your transparent base on. It's good to take one of those lint roller things over it to pick up any things like hair. Anyway. Again, I'm just coming in here and not really trying to just trying to get, it's trying to, kill the white on the shirt. Before I set my brush back down, again, I'll come back. Take care of the tip dry going on there. Alright, so now what we got going on here? So, let's see. I gotta work down here. And this is lower jaw, so that's gonna come down. Just to create these nice fluid movements. So I'm going to have this a little bit lighter down here, and then a little darker in here, lighter, just to kind of help create a little depth there. I need to have more definition. There's a little neck coming in there. Yeah, that's looking pretty good so far. I do believe. Yeah, so let me kind of do a quick zoom out a little bit. Loosen this up a smidge. You can get a better view there. So yeah, for just a basic, again, I'm not concerned with detail. I'm just loosely working in different shapes through the values, and that's all I'm concerned about right now. Okay. And so now what I'll do is, let's see, it's a good time. I'm going to go ahead and end this video for right now. But yeah, it's just really quick and easy. And so what I'm going to do after I stop this video, I'm going to go ahead and heat set what I've got right now. Okay. And so then what I'll do is I'll come in with some red and work in his ton and his gum lines and stuff like that. And then I will use some like bone white and come in and work in his teeth. And then I'll heat set that. Okay. And then what I'll do then is come in with, again, I'll start up here and I'll come in with darker blacks and start to define more of the shapes. And I also will do, you know what I'll need to do before that is I'll get in some texture stencils and work in here. They have a little bit more detail going on. All right, so I hope you guys, well, I hope. I appreciate you guys watching, for those of you who do watch. And I know it's been a while. But hey, it's crunch time. Christmas is coming up around the corner. I'm going to be taking a week off to go to Jacksonville, Florida for some training for work. And so it's like I'm not going to be able to do anything that week. And today was like the perfect day. It's the first Saturday after Thanksgiving. And we don't have the grandkids this weekend over. And so I told my wife, I was like, you know what? I says, today would be a perfect day for me to go down there and I can get this knocked out in one day and get it done and over with. And so that's one less, thing I have to worry about. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and come back for the next round. All right, peace out, man, and hope you guys are painting some shit. All right, later.